Namaste, Dandavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa, Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we are here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're also paying our humble obeisances to Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada for providing us this wonderful commentary and translation of Bhagavatam. And following the guidance of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we are praying to Srimati Radharani. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati has told us that unless we can understand something about Radharani within our Bhagavatam study, then our study has been wasted if we haven't done that. So with this in mind, we are praying to Srimati Radharani. Yadi seva vanchitasyama yasya kripaya vayam labema sarvam prapnuma prayojanam damni Shri Bhagavat Pade Krishna sambandhi sarvam cha yadina jani mahe tutam ashtadasha su sahasreshu shlokanam Bhagavat oktishu radharanim na vindamatada nishphalam Bhagavat adhyayanam radhikaya kripam vinam vyartasyat sarva parishrama. If we are cheated out of serving that personality whose mercy awards us everything we need, including residence in the Lord's holy Dham and all things connected to Krishna, and if we cannot understand or discover Radharani within the 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, then our study of Srimad Bhagavatam has been pointless. Without the mercy of Srimati Radharani, all of our efforts are in vain. Hare Krishna. So we are continuing our reading from Canto 5, the creative impetus, Chapter 2, the activities of Maharaj Āgnīdhra, Text 3. Tad upalabhya bhagavan adipurusha sadasi gayantim purvachitam namapsharasham abhiyapayamasa. Understanding King Āgnīdra's desire, the first and most powerful created being of this universe, Lord Brahma, selected the best of the dancing girls in his assembly, whose name was Purvachiti, and sent her to the king. Purport. In this verse, the words Bhagavan Adi Purusha are significant. Bhagavan Adi Purusha is Lord Krishna. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Lord Krishna is the original person. In Bhagavad Gita, he is also addressed by Arjuna as Purusham Adyam, the original person, and he is called Bhagavan. In this verse, however, we see that Lord Brahma is described as Bhagavan Adi Purusha. The reason he is called Bhagavan is that he fully represents the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is the firstborn creature in this universe. Lord Brahma could understand Maharaj Āgnīdra's desire because he is as powerful as Lord Vishnu. As Lord Vishnu, situated as Paramatma, can understand the desire of the living entity, so Lord Brahma can also understand the living entity's desire for Vishnu, as a via medium informs him. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1, Tane Brahma Hrida Ya Adi Kavaye. Lord Vishnu informs Lord Brahma of everything from within his heart. Because Maharaj Āgnīdhra specifically worshipped Lord Brahma was pleased and he sent Purvachiti, the Apsara, to satisfy him. Text 4. Sacha tad ashramo pavanam ati raminiyam vividha nibidha vitapi vitapa nikara samshlishta purata tataruda sthala vihangama vitunai prochamana shruti bi prati bodhyamana salila kukuta karandava kalaham sadbir vichitram upakujitamala jalashaya kamalakaram upabha brahma. The Apsara sent by Lord Brahma began strolling in a beautiful park near the place where the king was meditating and worshipping. The park was beautiful because of its dense green foliage and the golden creepers. There were pairs of varied birds such as peacocks, and in the lake there were ducks and swans, all vibrating very sweet sounds. Thus the park was magnificently beautiful because of the foliage, the clear water, the lotus flower, and the sweet singing of the various kinds of birds. Text 5. Tasya sulalita gamanapada vinyasa gati vilasayas chanupadam kana kanayamana ruchira charana parnasvanam upakarnya naradeva Kumara Samadhi Yogenami Lita Nayana Nalina Mukula Yugalam Ishad Vikachaya Vyachasta. As Purvachiti passed by on the road in a very beautiful style and mood of her own, the pleasing ornaments on her ankles tinkled with every step. Although Prince Āgnīdhra was controlling his senses, practicing yoga with half-open eyes, he could see her with his lotus-like eyes, and when he heard the sweet tinkling of her bangles, he opened his eyes slightly more and could see that she was just nearby. Purport. It is said that yogis always think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within their hearts. Ganavastita tad gatena manasa pasyantiyam yogina. Bhagavatam 12.13.1. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is always observed by yogis who practice controlling the venomous senses. As recommended in Bhagavad Gita, yogis should practice samprekshya nasikagram, keeping their eyes half open. If the eyes are closed completely, there will be a tendency to sleep. So-called yogis sometimes practice a fashionable form of yoga by closing their eyes and meditating, but we have actually seen such so-called yogis sleeping and snoring while meditating. This is not the practice of yoga. To actually practice yoga, one should keep his eyes half open and gaze at the tip of his nose. Although Āgnīdhra, the son of Priyavrata, was practicing mystic yoga and trying to control his senses, the tinkling sound of Purvachiti's ankle bells disturbed his practice. Yoga Indriya Samyaha. Actually, yoga practice means controlling the senses. One must practice mystic yoga to control the senses, but the sense control of a devotee who fully engages in the service of the Lord with his purified senses, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam, can never be disturbed. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati therefore stated, Durdan Tendriya Kala Sarpa Patali. Protkata Damstrayate, Chaitanya Chandramrita 5. The practice of yoga is undoubtedly good because it controls the senses, which are like venomous serpents. When one engages in devotional service, however, completely employing all the activities of the senses in the service of the Lord, the venomous quality of the senses is completely nullified. It is explained that a serpent is to be feared because of its poisonous fangs. But if those fangs are broken, the serpent, although it seems fearsome, is not at all dangerous. Devotees, therefore, may be may see hundreds and thousands of beautiful women with fascinating bodily movements and gestures, but not be allured, whereas such women would make ordinary yogis fall. Even the advanced yogi Vishvamitra broke his mystic practice to unite with Manaka and beget a child known as Sakuntala. The practice of mystic yoga, therefore, is not sufficiently strong to control the senses. Another example is Prince Āgnīdhra, whose attention was drawn to the movements of Purvachiti, the Apsara. Similarly, because he heard the tinkling of her ankle bells, in the same way that Vishvamitra Muni was attracted by the tinkling bangles of Manaka, Prince Āgnīdhra, upon hearing the tinkling bells of Purvachiti, immediately opened his eyes to see her beautiful movements as she walked. The prince was also very handsome. As described herein, his eyes were just like the buds of lotus flowers. As he opened his lotus-like eyes, he could immediately see the Apsara was present by his side. Text 6. Tam eva vidure marukarim eva sumanasa upaji grantim divija manuja mano nayana lada dugargati vihara vridha vinaya bhaloka Shuspara Charavayavar Manasi Nurnam Kushuma Yudhasya Vidhatim Vivara Nija Mukha Vigalita Mritasava Sahasa Bashana Muda Madhanda Madhukara Nikaro Parudhena Druta Pada Vinayasena Valgu Spandhana stana kalasa kabara bara rasanam devim tad avalokanena vivritas vivrita vasarasya bhagavato makara vajasya vasam upanitu jadavad iti havocha. Like a honeybee, the Apsara smelled the beautiful and attractive flowers. She could attract the minds and vision of both humans and demigods by her playful movements. Her shyness and humility, her glances, the very pleasing sounds that poured from her mouth as she spoke, and the motion of her limbs, by all these qualities she opened for Cupid, who bears an arrow of flowers, a path of oral reception into the minds of men. When she spoke, nectar seemed to flow from her mouth. As she breathed, the bees, mad for the taste of her breath, tried to hover about her beautiful lotus-like eyes. Disturbed by the bees, she tried to move hastily, but as she raised her feet to walk quickly, her hair, the belt on her hips, and her breasts, which were like water jugs, also moved in a way that made her extremely beautiful and attractive. Indeed, she seemed to be making a path for the entrance of Cupid, who is most powerful. Therefore, the prince, completely subdued by seeing her, spoke to her as follows. Purport. How a beautiful woman's movements and gestures, her hair and the structure of her breasts, hips, and other bodily features attract the minds not only of men but also of demigods, also is very finely described in this statement. The words Divija and Manuja specifically emphasize that the attraction of feminine gestures is powerful everywhere within this material world, both on this planet and in the higher planetary systems. It is said that the standard of living in the higher planetary systems is thousands and thousands of times higher than the standard of living on this planet. Therefore, the beautiful bodily features of the women there are also thousands and thousands of times more attractive than the features of the women on earth. The Creator has constructed women in such a way that their beautiful voices and movements and beautiful features of their hips, their breasts, and other parts of their bodies attract the members of the opposite sex, both on earth and on other planets, and awaken their lusty desires. When one is controlled by Cupid or by the beauty of women, he becomes stunned like matter, such as stone. Captivated by the material movements of women, he wants to remain in this material world. Thus, one's promotion to the spiritual world is checked simply by seeing the beautiful bodily structure and movements of women. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore warned all devotees to beware of the attraction of beautiful women and materialistic civilization. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu even refused to see Prabhupada Maharaj because he was a very opulent person in the material world. Lord Chaitanya said in this connection, Niskinchanasya Bhagavad Bhajanonu Mukasya. Those who are engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, because they are very serious about going back home, back to Godhead, should be very careful to avoid seeing the beautiful gestures of women and should also avoid seeing persons who are very rich. Niskinchanasya Bhagavad Niskinchanasya Bhagavad Bhajano Mukasya Param Param Jigamishur Bhava Sagrasya Sandarshanam Vishayinam Atta Yoshitam Cha Ha Hanta Hanta Visha Bhakshanatopya Sadhu. Alas, for a person who is seriously desiring to cross the material ocean and engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord without material motives, seeing a materialist engaged in sense gratification, or seeing a woman who is similarly interested, is more abominable than drinking poison willingly. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 11.8. One who is serious about going back home, back to Godhead, should not contemplate the attractive features of women and the opulence of rich men. Such contemplation will check one's advancement in spiritual life. Once a devotee is fixed in Krishna consciousness, however, these attractions will not agitate his mind. And thus ends our reading for today. We'll continue from text 7 on Friday. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Guru Dev, Srila Acharya Dev Ki Jai. Jai Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees, Sama Bhaktivedanta Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai. Shyam Kund Radha Kund Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yajna Ki Jai. Scientific Sankirtan Yajna Ki Jai. Jai Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Ki Jai. Jai Gaura Premanandi Hari 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 Bol. Hare Krishna. Jai Srimati Uma Devi Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
श्रीपाद कृष्ण केशव प्रभु जी की जय।
Dhanavad Sthiti.
धन्यवाद प्रभु।